Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the class EPPE3123, Industry and International Business. This class focuses on technology. But before that, we're going to look at this today, continue our class. The importance of international business. Why international business is important? Well, we're done with that. That was last week. Okay, now indicators I found: open economy. When we talk about Malaysia, for example, a small, it refers to the size. Size of the economy of Malaysia is relatively small compared with other economies, like United States, large economy. Japan is a large economy. Indonesia is relatively much larger, the size of the economy, than Malaysia's. But when you divide by number of population, that's per capita, GDP per capita, Malaysia is higher because the number of population of Indonesia is large. So, but in terms of size, Indonesia is much larger than Malaysia's. So, relatively, Malaysia is a small and open economy. Open here, we do not refer to whether the door is closed or open. It does not refer to whether the doors, when you come, open or shut. But it refers to the dependence of an economy on international trade. That dependence on import-export or including re-export. In the case of Malaysia, import-export. In the case of Singapore or Hong Kong, import, export, and re-export. Products come in not destined to that country. Products come into Singapore really not destined to Singapore, but just going through Singapore and going out again. So that's why Malaysia's trading partner, number one is China. Talking about today. Number one is China, number two is Singapore. Do you think that products from Malaysia are consumed by 6 million only people of Singapore? No. Huge amount of products from Malaysia just going through Singapore. So we can call, basically Singapore has that re-export, import, import, export, and third one, re-export. Re-export, export again. But in the past, that activity, well, we call it entrepot. That's a French word. So, someone Google after this, after I write it. What does it mean? Stop. Yes. Okay. Google it. Entrepot. I think it's a French language. Because we don't call it entrepot. No, entrepot. What does it mean? And export. Again. Or simply I ask you to Google. Google the word entrepot. Ho? You get it? What is it?
Port or city or other center to which
Wait. Okay, I will.
okay, a port, city or other center to which goods are brought for import and export, and for collection. Just it.
For what?
For collection. Collection.
Spell it.
COLLECTION.
Collection?
Collection.
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 See? Say that out loud again.
What? A port, city or other center to which goods are brought for import and export, and for collection.
Yeah. That's what Singapore is. See? Ports. So this is, the activity is entrepot. So that's, I'm not going to ask you on the exam. I think it's for your knowledge. I think today is your first time hearing about it, right? No? When? When was your first? Huh? In school. Okay, good. But do you understand when you heard it the first time? Did you understand? Yeah. Okay, good. Anyway, we're talking here about dependence. Open economy, it means dependence on external sector, dependence on international trade, which is import, or you can say export and imports, and can be re-export, especially in the case of port cities like Singapore, like Hong Kong. Well, Hong Kong in the past, because of the embargo, during the Cold War embargo by America and by the West, Hong Kong played the role as a back door to enter China, at that time. And Amsterdam, these are re-export centers. I mentioned in my previous lecture, if Thailand dug a tunnel, not tunnel, canal, tunnel is tunnel, a canal, like Panama Canal, Suez Canal, Singapore would be nothing today, because no ships will go through Singapore, right? Just cut across Thailand, closer from West or India to China. So Singapore, what Singapore today is, because of all the ships must go that point, and as a result, finance, banking, all will come out because of no ports, no Singapore. I mean, today's Singapore. Anyway, so that's a side story, okay? Only side story. So it is the contribution of the external sector to GDP. What is external sector? International trade. Yeah. In this case, you can include that investment, but rarely we do that. When we think of external sector, we think of international trade, import and export. Even though international, money crossing the border also can be regarded as external sector, but more often when we say external sector, we refer to the movement of goods. Goods, okay? What is import and export of goods? We don't refer to movement of services. What is movement of services? Service may not really move, people from outside of this country study here, study in Malaysia, there's export of service already. Tourists coming to Malaysia, there's export of services. Even though service is here, you understand, can be regarded as the same that someone, for example, an expert from Malaysia, expert whatever, computer expert, went overseas for, and got paid. So that's export of services. Yeah, he went there, but services doesn't have to be exported that way. Like I mentioned, tourists come, already export of service. So more often we refer to goods. External sector refer to goods, import, export, and re-export of goods, not services. Even though you can, but so that contribution of, because it gets complicated when you want to see the dependence. The dependence will be anyone see eraser? There's no eraser in this room. Yeah, lend me one piece of. Thank you. Because openness equal total trade per GDP, gross domestic product. It gets complicated if you consider total trade as goods and services. Export plus import. Plus imports per GDP. Here, I'm talking about goods only. By right, when we mention the total trade, which is goods and services, which is export of goods plus imports of goods plus re-export of goods plus export of services plus import of services, gets complicated. So we just focus on total trade, total merchandise. What is merchandise? Goods only. So export of So here export of merchandise export, merchandise imports. So this is basically, because there's another one, re-export. Yeah, you can include that. You can include, that's only true for certain countries only, like Singapore, Malaysia not. not Malaysia. Not Malaysia. In fact, Malaysian goods products from Malaysia go through Singapore. That's why I mentioned to you, that's the reason why trading partner of Malaysia is Singapore. Number one with China, number two with Singapore. It's not because Singaporean people consume products from Malaysia, no. Products from Malaysia go through Singapore. So this is not applicable to many countries. You just forget it. Okay. So this is the dependence. So Malaysia is very much dependent on, external trade, international trade, external sector. We call it external sector, which is international trade. So the larger the export and imports in GNP, you can look at GNP, you can look at GDP. Anyone knows? Not on the exam. Any different? Do you know the difference between GNP and GDP? Akilah. Apa? Siti Akilah. Yes. Do you know the difference? Tell me. What is the difference between GNP and GDP? Zulaika here? No. I have to look. Okay. Siti Humaira. No. Yes? Yes. Quickly. This is, I'm testing your knowledge only. Come on. Quickly. Time.
Saya cakap Melayu boleh kan? Okay. Time, okay. I'm sorry. Kalau GNP, just like KNK in Malay. Kalau KNK tu dia macam, dia include luar negara dan dengan dalam kan? Kalau macam mana cakap, macam dia bilangan hasil daripada luar negara tu dia kira sekali dengan hasil dalam negara kita.
Kalau KNK pendapatan dalam negara dan pendapatan oleh penduduk negara kita di negara luar. Kalau KDNK pendapatan dalam negara kita sama ada oleh warga negara atau warga asing.
What is the difference between GDP and GNP?
GDP tu GDP commonly used for measure the size of an economy, and GNP tu for outside. GNP outside. GNP dia to measure the size of outside the economy.
Okay, I'll give you the answer because time is very short. Gross domestic product. Gross domestic product. Production that happen in this country, domestic. No matter by whom. That's the easiest way to say it. Production that occur in a country, in the domestic of the country. For example, this is Malaysia. Production, final goods and services. Total final goods and services. Why? Final? To avoid double counting. So one way of doing that is by adding up value added of each activity. Because if you add everything, for example, I sell something RM1, my cost is 80 cents. If I add that one, RM1, I add everything, which the production of somebody's production that goes inside that 80 cents. Production by Hilmi, or maybe your name Hilmi. Production by, so I double count. So to avoid double counting, we count only the value added. 20 cents from me, my production, value added. Cost 80 cents, sold RM1. 20 cents is my value added. And the rest of, so we add the value added. So we get the final, total, final goods and services in a country, the production final. So this GDP produced in a country, inside the country, happen domestically, no matter by whom, doesn't matter, by citizens or by non-citizens. Like in Malaysia, production by Malaysian companies, production by Malaysian people, also production by Malaysian foreigners, production by foreign companies operating in Malaysia, Sony in Malaysia, Hitachi, whatever, in Malaysia, all included. So that's gross domestic product. As long as the production occur here, all counted. Of course, I mentioned earlier, we count only the final, final, to avoid double counting. Whereas GNP, gross national product, the amount of total final goods and services produced by national of this country, by national, the citizens of the country, whether that production occur here in this country or occurs outside. So add together the incomes, the production by citizens only in this country, okay? Not by the Japanese companies, the foreign companies, no, not included. Plus incomes brought in by Malaysian citizens whose production occur outside of this country. So you're right. You're right. You are right. Yeah. GNP is the gross national production. The word is national. Okay, national, citizens of this country, whether production here or the income brought from outside. Income usually dividend, investment, or maybe profit. They have a factory in Indonesia, the profits. See? Here only counted by citizens only, not the Japanese company. That's GNP. Here, GDP, this one, GDP, all counted as long as production happen in this country. No matter by whom, by Japanese, by Koreans, by Malaysians, all, by all, as long as in this country. So in the case of Malaysia, Ikmal lah, your name, which one is bigger, GDP or GNP? In the case of Malaysia, which one is larger, the size, the amount, GDP or GNP? GDP? Why? Maybe you're not sure. Anyone that has a sure answer? Who? Please speak up. Time. Speak up. Who? Do you have a sure answer? Come on, quickly. He says that GDP is bigger than GNP in the case of Malaysia. I'm stressing the case of Malaysia because can be other country GNP is bigger, but usually for many countries, especially developing countries, GDP is bigger than GNP. Why? The production from so many multinational companies operating here. That's the reason. Production by Sony, production by whatever companies, foreign companies, multinational companies operating here. Whereas Malaysians operating outside, not that many. That's why in the case of Malaysia, maybe the case of other country, I don't want to spend time to think, okay? Stop at that. Because we need to move on to more important. We have to go further. So, the larger the exports and imports in total trade, okay? Listen, look at it here. The larger the exports and imports, total trade, in other words, total trade, merchandise trade. I'm not talking services. The larger the export and imports of goods in GDP or GNP or GDP, doesn't matter, the higher dependency on international trade. That economy as an open economy. Do you understand now? This open economy here does not mean whether that economy, the door is shut or the door is open. No. It measures the dependence of that country or that economy on international trade. Do you understand now? Let's look at, for example, Malaysia. Export of goods and services. So I got this from this statistics table. 1985. In GNP or GDP, 60.3%, 82.9%. This all. 1987 price. This is constant price. When you want to measure economic growth, you must use constant price. Constant price, the index, GDP deflator index, 100 during 1987. You cannot calculate economic growth using current prices. Not precise, because current prices can go up because of inflation. So you need to use constant price. And look at this, 60, 82, 98, 137 in 2000. Import, export, total import and export of goods and goods, not services. Total export of goods, goods. Total export and import, total trade of goods, 137. Malaysia is very dependent on international trade. 134, see this slightly going down. 127 going down. It's like a curve like this, up and down. Oh. And 2009 down, and now I should extend this lower than 100, about under 100. It means that more of the role of domestic economy becoming more important for Malaysia. But still, suppose this is 2020, 2021, last year 2021, suppose 90, 95. Still, 95 is a large number. Malaysia is, don't quote me on that, right? I have to look at the data. But I'm sure it's about total trade, it's about 90% of Malaysia's GDP. So, very dependent on external sector, which is international trade. Imports swell, 102, 115, 120. So therefore, the Malaysian economy is highly dependent on the external sector. Now, let's go quickly. Next, the history of industrial expansion. So, today is you heard many times, fourth industrial revolution, right? So, we're going to trace back how that fourth, that began with so-called the first industrial revolution. What is revolution? It's always taking time to ask you, what is a revolution? No, it's okay. What is a revolution?
From something old to something new.
Yeah, one of we are. But for the sake of time, revolution is something that happened either very quickly or that happens with very large impact. Very large impact. So I bank on the second one. The process can take a long time, but when it happens just like that. But the ingredients for that to happen, it was cooking, and then suddenly exploded. But with the very large impact that changed the way certain things are done in the past, becoming a new way. So production was kind of primitive before the first industrial revolution. So that first industrial revolution happened in England with invention. Invention at the time, when products were invented, tools and everything were invented. So people could produce products more efficiently. That ability to produce products more efficiently compared with the primitive way of doing things, that's a revolution. In the past, people use blocks of wood to transport something heavy. Something heavy, right? This wood. And push. And then people started to invent a wheel. Wheel. Maybe the first wheel was wood also. And wheel, next, the metal. But that wheel is an important invention in human life, because you cannot move heavy stuff using a block, right? A block like this. Cannot. You need something that rolling. Right? This is invention. Wheel, roda, is an invention. That's one example of invention that happened in England. One example. I'm not saying that's the only. So, based on invention that happened in England, that was the first industrial revolution in mid-70s, 1870. The book by Adam Smith, the father of modern economics, The Wealth of Nations. That book was published in 1776, 1776. During that time, The Wealth of Nations, the book by Adam Smith. So, second industrial revolution happened in Germany and spread to America. Happened in Germany. That was based on innovation. First industrial revolution based on invention, invent. Second industrial revolution was based on innovation. The products that was invented has now been improved on it. So that process is called innovation. You innovate. There's a saying, you should not try to invent. The first one. Should not try to invent wheels twice, because the wheel has already been invented. You should not waste your time to try to invent wheels, a wheel again. A wheel has been, or wheels have been invented. You should innovate. Do not waste your time to invent something which has been invented, but you should innovate, improve upon the products. That's innovation. Make it better, works better, easy to use, and whatever. See, that happened in Germany and USA, later in USA, later, not the beginning, later on, because of migration of people from Europe to America at that time. So that's based on innovation. innovate. And then the third industrial revolution, 1913 until mid-1980s. 1913, because 1913 was the First World War. The First World War happened in 1913. First World War. And that World War, the first one, led to 1930s. Great Depression in 1930s. No jobs. Economy was so bad because of the war and also the protectionist sentiment. Countries protect their economies, and then trade suffered. International trade, decreased. As a result, 1930s was one of the period that you must know, the Great Depression, 1930s. 1930s that happened after the war, First World War, which is check, Google, please Google for me. When was First World War? I think 1914 or what? 1919 and yeah. Ended. 1914. Yes, 1914 until 1918. 14 until 18. That was the First World War. 1914 until 18. So during this time, what makes this a revolution? In terms of mode of production, we can explain this in terms of the division of labor, international division of labor. And the third industrial revolution has to do with new international division of labor, because in the second and still in the first industrial revolution, well, yes, I can say that. Adam Smith, the publication of The Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith came up with a theory, absolute advantage. A country must specialize in a product that country has an absolute advantage. His model was 2 countries, 2 products, 1 factor only, which is labor only. To simplify, there's a model, simplify things. So Ricardo, he came out with the theory of comparative advantage. Again, with specialization. Both are talking about specialization. One country is more efficient in X compared to other country. That country was specialized in the production of X. Country A. Country B is more efficient in production of product Y. That country will specialize in production of Y, and then they trade. That's international division of labor already. Do you understand? International division of labor. Country A, the labor in country A, according to this theory, produce as many as X, 0 Y. Let me repeat. According to this classical theory, not neoclassical, classical theory, country A more efficient in X, all the labors will go to the production of X. because no Y is produced. That's country A. Country B more efficient in Y, the product Y. So Smith and Ricardo say, you Y, you country B, you must specialize in production of Y. Produce as many Ys as you can, but 0 X. So all the labor will be taking the bus to the land that produce Y. Maybe, farmland or whatever. And that one, product X, all these people, laborers, will take bus. I'm just making drama, okay? To go to that factory to produce X, but no Y. So, country A, laborers working in production of X. Country B, all the laborers will be working in production of Y. That's international division of labor. Do you understand? But in the third industrial revolution, there is new. I forgot to mention. When that happened, we're talking about rich country, previously rich country, industrial countries. Usually, they have comparative advantage in manufacturing. Poorer countries will have comparative advantage or will specialize in production of commodities and agriculture. So, in terms of production of manufacturing, I focus on manufacturing, okay? In terms of production of manufacturing, it's one way. During the first industrial revolution and the second industrial revolution, the trade of manufactured goods, you follow me? Manufactured goods, the trade, import and export of manufactured goods was only one way. Coming from where? From rich industrial country. You follow me? Manufactured goods come from rich or industrial countries. Okay? Whereas all the manufacturing export. But in the third industrial revolution, Japan joined in already. Newly industrialized economies of Asia, Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, all this join in the production of manufactured goods in manufacturing. So, in the third industrial revolution, we saw, we didn't see, you didn't see because you were not born yet. We could see trade in manufactured goods, trade of manufactured goods are becoming two ways. Products, exported, manufactured goods, exported by industrial and rich countries, and also many developing countries also export manufactured goods. So two ways. So do you follow me? During the first industrial and second industrial revolution, the traffic of trade for manufactured goods or industrial products were one way, coming from industrial or rich countries, and also among themselves as well. I should mention that they trade among themselves also. But one way between, I'm talking about between rich country, industrial countries and developing countries, one way, okay? From rich industrial countries. But during the third industrial revolution, developing countries also producing products in the manufacturing sector. Do you follow me? That's why the traffic of exports of manufactured goods are now two ways. Two ways between rich. I'm talking about between rich and or industrial countries and developing countries. Two ways. Developing countries also export manufactured goods. Do you understand now? So I'm not talking about between rich countries. There's intra-trade. There's also trade among rich countries among themselves in the products or industry that are similar industry. There's intra-trade. So what we concern here only between rich and developing, between developed and developing. Now, two ways, and there's a new international division of labor. What does it mean? In the past, people are working in the manufacturing were in the industrial countries only. But today, in developing countries also, laborers are also working in manufacturing. Do you follow me? So, new. What is new? The division of labor no more one-sided. Now, both-sided. Developing economies also, developing countries also has laborers working in manufacturing as well as in commodities and agriculture. They also, some of them work in manufacturing. That's new. Do you follow me? That's, we call it new international division of labor. So Japan became developed country already during this third industrial revolution. Korea, Taiwan emerged as newly industrialized economies. Very important way, politically correct way of saying knees rather than nicks. Why? Does anyone know why? Oh. Yeah. Knees, newly industrialized economies. Why we use the word economies, not countries? This is economies, knees. This is newly industrialized countries. No, we don't use the word countries because Hong Kong is not a country. Hong Kong was not, and until today, was and is not until today a country. Hong Kong was under British, returned back to China in 1997. So Hong Kong has never been a country then and until now. So that's why. Wow, that's another controversial. The United Nations only recognize People's Republic of China, not Taiwan. That's United Nations. We have a PRC, People's Republic of China, and we have also in this world, okay, ROC, Republic of China, which is Taiwan. Both constitutions say, PRC's constitution will say PRC, all the mainland, including Hong Kong, including Macau, including Taiwan. That's PRC. ROC, Republic of China, on Taiwan. That was in 1980s. The way it was called by, the Taiwanese government called it Republic of China on Taiwan. ROC's constitution says ROC is all mainland China plus Taiwan plus Hong Kong plus all. So, claiming. But however, United Nations only recognize one China only, which is PRC. So that's United Nations. So that saga or that drama, that controversy continues until today. Sometimes tense. So we cannot call Taiwan a country, I mean, according to United Nations. Because Taiwanese people will say, this is my country. So to avoid that controversy, we use NIS. That's the reason. And ASEAN, we don't say Asian. We don't say Asian. Asian refer to ASEAN. This week we say ASEAN. You are an Asian, right? You are an Asian, right? Asian. Yes, I'm an Asian. But I'm now residing in an ASEAN country. ASEAN. Just pronunciation, okay? Okay, I have a joke, which I will do in another class. Okay. And China, the emergence of China, India as economic giant. That's the third industrial revolution. Already emerged. Now the fourth, yes. It's got to do with digital revolution, ICT, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, that began with, actually with the introduction of PC. Before PC, listen to me. You have to read a lot from magazines, right? If you don't listen. I'm teaching you from my experience, from my knowledge, from my readings. And there's no book really to read. The introduction of PC, personal computer, was very important. Before PC, personal computer, it was mainframe computer, as large as this room, maybe. From there to there. I mean, 1, 2, 3, or 2, 1, 2, 3, until here. Big, very big. Do you understand? Very big. Mainframe computer. That machine, half of this room, the size. Mainframe computer. And the mini computers will be connected to that, connected to the mainframe. But that computer is not personal. You have to, connect that. It's connected to mainframe, big. So, I'm not saying PC was introduced in 1980s. PC was introduced much earlier. But in terms of the mass market, it was early or mid 1980s. Around 1984, around 1983, 83, 84, 83 or 84, there was the PC, the era, introduction to the mass market. People started to could buy PC, personal computer, around 1984. So that's very important for what we have today. No PC, no nothing else today. No industrial revolution, the fourth one. Because in the PC there's an innovation. And in the PC also, the semiconductor industry is very important. And industries, firms trying to get the smallest possible size of the semiconductor and the fastest possible with a small size. The pursuit of innovation continues. So, introduction of PCs, the most important initial stage. And then 1996, emergence of dot-coms. WWW, World Wide Web, Internet, multimedia, convergence of text, voice and video. So that was the beginning. www, and as a result, .coms. Many companies emerged, tech-oriented companies that's got to do with networking, that's got to do with supplying either the products or more often the services. .com companies, to the extent that the Y2K bug, which I will explain to you. Does anyone know Y2K bug? So that was 1996. The World Wide Web, internet. Before that, no internet. There was intranet only. Intra within the specific location, like within a company, but not this international internet, all over the world. That was the year. And that progress made the multimedia, the convergence. In the past, computers, PC was only available, could be used to type and read text. Text. This is text, okay? No sound. No sound. Only text. That was the beginning. 1980s, 1985, mid 1980s. Text only. No sound and no audio sound. No video, no movies, no video. But sometime in 1996 or 97, 98, 96, around this, there was a convergence. Text, voice, and video in one. Now we're having, right? In the past, computer only we could only type and read. Cannot voice, cannot all this, videos or movies. To the extent that this was a phenomenon plural, a phenomenon in the world. To the extent that there's a university here named after this. University, Multimedia University. Because this convergence was a new phenomenon in the world of ICT. We could now do the three things together. Texting, listening, and watching. Yeah, that's the word. Texting, listening, and watching the movement. Convergence. What is converge? Come together. And 2007, touch screen smartphones, the most important propulsive stage in terms of mobility. The world now has become mobile. I mean, we are mobile. With the internet, plus make it fast. Mobile with speed, because you can touch screen. So the first phone, mobile phone the successful one was Nokia. Nokia was the king of phone. We call it phone, right? A dumb phone. Now smartphone. Smartphone came with a touch screen and ability to search internet. The phone is not smart if you can touch the screen only, but you cannot search internet. Or the phone is not smart if you can search internet only, but you have to still have to use the keypad. You cannot touch the screen. So, smartphone. So 2010s and 2020s, virtual reality, you know. Feels like it's real, but it's not real. So virtual reality. Augmented reality, you have something, you add on. You add the features to that to make it real, plus more information. Artificial intelligence, neural network. This do calculation, algorithm, and so on. Internet of Things, everything is connected. You know, I can look at, poor me, I don't have even have a watch. I have a smart watch. I can look at from my watch, oh, my clothes outside. Raining starting at my home. Suppose my home is not here. My home is 1 hour from here. Not raining here, but raining there. I can control, okay. Bring in the clothes. I can just speak, okay. I can speak to my smart watch. Close, bring in. So, the machine. Everything connected. So, see? Internet of Things. Everything is connected. Even shoes. You can have a IoT shoes. For jogging, you can do, you know. For training. Training for sports. I'm talking about sports. IoT shoes. This is my thinking, okay? Can give you the calculation, the mathematics, how I should run to win 100 meter, you know, or how I should run to jump past the, you know, this. And the trainer can monitor me from the Internet of Things, from his computer. Okay, you must run like this. I want to wash my clothes. Of course, modernized day. There's I put outside near that thing. There's a machine. Okay, I push the button. Okay, wash. I can control my refrigerator from here. Internet of Things. Okay, do you understand? So you can imagine a lot of data involved. When we say data, it's not data that, you know, the internet that you purchase, Cellcom, U-Mobile, not that data. Every interactions in Internet of Things that involves data. Smart city. Okay, one way of understanding data, when you purchase something at the shop, there's a barcode. They collect data for you. I mean, data not for you, for them. So big data is one of the big data. So Bill Gates became rich during beginning in the third industrial revolution. Already Bill Gates became rich during the third industrial revolution already, and continues so. He doesn't have to work. Money, no problem today. And we're going to study that. Apple is a company that was dead and came back again because of touch screen technology. Apple came back with iPhone. Apple, which was dead in the grave already because of Bill Gates. Bill Gates' strategy of bundling. When you buy Microsoft, oh yeah, I should bring floppy disk. The PC started with DOS, disk operating system. You put DOS, there's a floppy disk. Next time I'll bring the floppy. And you have a prompt, and after that you can take out the DOS, that floppy disk, put whatever software you want to do. Work perfect for this typing. Lotus 123 for calculation. But they're not talking to each other. So in 1980s, before the PC, in 1980s, you send your assignment through typewriter. Not through, you type your assignment. So that was a electric typewriter, Brother. The brand name is Brother. Typewriter. And then with that PC that came in, gone is the business of electric typewriter, because in the past typewriter was like this. So electric. So the PC not connected, not talking to each other. So when I submitted my assignment, this is the text, different file. And I was using WordPerfect. This is the text. Essay. Do you understand? Text, essay. And this is my graph. My graph will be using other, I forgot the name, other software. And this is my table. I was using Lotus 123. So when I submit finish my assignment, I have to have 3 files. One for the essay, different software. One for the graph, different software. One for the table. So I print it, I put together and staple. But came Bill Gates, he bundled that all together in one Microsoft. You have today Excel, right? You have Words, PowerPoint, or whatever. So that when you buy just one Microsoft, you get everything else. That's what we call bundling. And that the price was cheaper compared with Apple. Apple was producing Apple Macintosh using its own software, which is more expensive. Better, but more expensive. And in fact, Apple was the first that introduced mouse in the product, mouse. And also introduced window. Today, you take things for granted, right? Window was an invention. Earlier PC, no window. See, that's all Windows 1, Windows whatever, Windows 10. That's the word window. Do you understand? What now? Is it 12 or what? 12. Yeah. Because a window You see, there is something important in a name. Let me repeat. When there is a name, there's something important in that name. Windows 10, Windows 7, 10. Because Windows was an invention. Earlier PC, no window. You just type words, essay. But today you have window. You can open that window or cancel, click. So window. So Microsoft introduced Windows. So did Apple, Macintosh. And Apple also introduced the use of mouse. Before that, no mouse. No mouse. So, but Apple, the software, more expensive compared with Microsoft. So, here, I'm telling you what we're going to learn in the next chapters. Network effect. I'm telling you now. Because of the price of Microsoft, the software is cheaper compared with Apple. For Apple, exclusive. So you buy Apple Macintosh, the computer, the machine. Inside there, there's Apple software. But the clever thing about Bill Gates, he makes it available to all. You buy the machine. The machine may be Hewlett-Packard. The machine used to be IBM, you know. IBM was making the machine, the computer, but no more. You can buy the machine, the hardware, the machine, the computer. When I say machine, I meant the PC, the hardware. You could buy not Macintosh, Hewlett-Packard. You can buy what? Other brand. Hewlett-Packard, what's the other one? Whatever the name, I forgot. But you can have Microsoft on whatever the machine. You can have what?